Hello and welcome to the McDuffie Minute Podcast, where McDuffie County residents can find out important information about the governments of McDuffie County, Thompson, Deering, and the school system, and all points between. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Smith.
And I'm Christopher Wells. Of course, the folks who live in McDuffie County think everyone should come here to visit. On this episode, we're going to talk to someone whose job it is to convince outsiders of that. We're joined today by Tourism Director Elizabeth Vance. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Elizabeth, as we do with all our guests, could you tell us a little about yourself, how you got in the tourism business, and how long you've been around McDuffie County?
Well, my husband and I moved to McDuffie County 18 years ago. We came here because he accepted a job at Club Car. And I was actually in the graphic design and marketing business in Atlanta. And moving here, I saw that, it was probably not going to be as easy for me to find a job in that field here as it was in Atlanta. So after we got here and settled in, I actually went down to the Chamber of Commerce to volunteer, helped them with some festivals that were coming up at the time. And that's how I came into the tourism job, was hired that spring. And I really didn't know anything about tourism. I just saw it as a marketing job and marketing the community. And so I learned a lot about how it is that, but it's a whole lot more. I got schooled, in it through the state tourism office and their conferences and GACVB. But so, that's how I've been here for 18 years in the county and in this position for 17.
All right. So I'm actually interested in finding out what the number one tourist attraction is for McDuffie County. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it's kind of hard to say. There's so many things that bring in people at different times of the year.
Right.
For the entire year, it could be even things like retail businesses. But I think a lot of people would be surprised to hear that a retail business like Antiques and Uncle Junk's brings in a ton of people from outside the community to visit their store and buy stuff. I keep them stocked in our shopping and dining guides constantly because they are constantly asking us for them and they're constantly giving them out because people come here and they want to know what else there is to do. So I do know that they are, on a year-round basis, they are a big draw for people across the county. But you get into certain times of the year and it's different things. In the late winter, early spring, Pine Top Farm brings in a ton of people. Whenever they have their horse trials, you'll usually, the local people will usually find that it can be hard to find a seat at a restaurant when they're here.
Right, yeah.
But, if you go by Pine Top when those events are going on, you see that It's almost like a whole nother little community has cropped up over there.
Yeah, I come that way to work every morning, and you can definitely tell when there's something, that whole field is absolutely full.
Yep. And then Ionia Pass is very close to just over the county line, but very close to us.
And most of those people will stay at our hotels.
That's right. Our hotels are filled when they are having events. And so, like February and March is a very good time for our hotels. And then, of course, April with the Masters. And
we still get some overflow from Augusta out this way. So,
right. We do. Our hotels are always full and our restaurants are always full. People think that people aren't here when the Masters happens, but they are. They're just at Augusta National when it's open. So,
right.
Well, they're here because you can ride by in the evenings and all the parking lots are full. And
that's right.
You can see the traffic coming down and off the interstate, and obviously the planes that are coming in and out. That's another big boost to us is some of the tax proceeds off of gas and that sort of thing. That Masters Week is a boon for the Augusta, of course, but it's a boon from Columbia all the way to Greensboro.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's right.
We were in Columbia Masters Week, and one of the restaurants we were in, had a tournament up on all the big screens, but they also had Masters Week specials and that sort of thing in Columbia. It was really cool. So So, our listeners pretty much live around here. And I bet very few people are shocked by the main attractions that you've mentioned. And you add to that the lake. And we've always heard of Wrightsboro and the Rock House. But there are some things that bring people here that they may not know about. Can you tell us a little bit about those niche or those newer activities and attractions that are here that could bring people that, weren't here 5 or 10 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorites is White Hills Farm in Deering. It's a lavender and herb farm. They have a little shop where they sell products from the lavender and herbs that they harvest. And Amy and Patrick are usually at a lot of local farmers markets over the weekends, including, occasionally the one in Thompson and always the one in Deering. So they are a great little attraction and a beautiful farm. And as well as, Deering has become a little bit of an agritourism hub for us because the Rogers family and Hillcrest Dairy had started doing tours in 2020. Believe it or not,
one thing that started in 2020.
Yeah, right. It was it was kind of sad that they spent all this time getting the robots in and planning all this stuff, and as soon as they were finished and ready to start going, COVID hit. But they decided in the summer that they would go ahead and open it up to people who felt comfortable coming out, and they took precautions, obviously. But since then, they have hosted a ton of school field trips, and farmers from all over the world have come to visit them. So they have become quite an attraction too. And then this year, I was made aware of a farm called Crawford's 00 Farm, and they're actually in the Wrightsboro area, and they raise Scottish Highland cattle that are little mini cows with these long, shaggy hair. They look like little beetles or something. When the beetles had shaggy hair, they are adorable, and you can have birthday parties out there for your kids. They have paint parties occasionally. You can recently they have hosted several marriage proposals on the farm where the little cow comes out with a sign that says, "Will you marry me?" It's adorable.
Yeah. My wife and daughter look at those cows every time. We're like, when are we going to go out and see them? And we just haven't made it out there yet, but they're all over Facebook. And I know when they hit it when they're scrolling through Facebook because I hear, "Oh, like, you're looking at cows again, aren't you?" But yeah, they're great people. I've talked to them a couple of times about doing some stuff out there, and they're really great people.
Yeah, and the cows are great. They come right up to you. They eat right out of your hand. They're just very sweet. They're sweet. They're cute.
And I myself have been on the tour for Hillcrest a couple of times with school groups, taking pictures of them. And it's always neat to hear about the history of this is the barn that started it all and that sort of thing. So, and being, originally from Deering is neat to see that. And my wife has fussed at me as well. And so I've not been to see the robot yet. So I want to go out there.
Yeah, I got to take Windsor at some point. And both Rogers guys are such great storytellers. And They've got such a passion for the land they're on. It really is an informative tour. It shows, the life of a small farmer, and, they touch all those bases from how they do to what they do to why they do, which is, it really is it gives you great insight into that little area out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have a great story. That farm has a great story.
Yeah. You mentioned the farmers markets. When is the Thompson one starting back up here?
The Thompson one starts back up June 1st, I believe. Okay. And if that's a Saturday.
Somewhere right along in the let's say the first Saturday in June. How about that? And then the Deering one has started already, hasn't it?
Yeah, it started this month, I believe, in April. And it's 2 Fridays a month. Right. Now, I don't know how long it runs, but theirs runs much longer than the Thompson one.
I know Deering, because I was on the front end of that last year. One of the things that they wanted to do is take advantage of more than one harvest season. Mm-hmm. So they go through the fall a lot of times. And Sean Kelly out there has moved to, we worked with Archway when Sean was mayor to develop plans for a new not enclosed but covered area to have that, so they're not at the will of the weather.
Right.
They had to move inside a few weeks ago because of the wind.
Right.
But hopefully moving forward, they've really bought into that, and they're really taking that as a true community event. So it'll be neat to see how that evolves in the coming years.
Yeah. They've done a great job. I think it's 2 Fridays a month from like 4:30 to 7:30.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah, and they do ice cream and all sorts of things there. They've made it farmers market plus almost.
So speaking of projects, what do you have in the works as far as tourism? Are there any new events, attractions coming that our listeners might be interested in hearing about?
Well, I think one thing that's coming that's, that the city and county are doing is the new downtown park that they're going to be breaking ground on this fall, I think.
Yes.
And along with that, another archway project that we worked on was something called the Music Mile. And it is going to be a mile-long trail in downtown that will, once the park is finished, the trailhead will be there at the park, but the whole thing will take you around downtown. So a little in advance of the park being finished, the tourism board is going to be working on this Music Mile. We're going to be placing more of our 12-string strut guitars around the area that the mile is going to run. There's going to be, hopefully, a painted piano that will live at the depot that people can play. And, we're going to, it'll be visual. There'll be, like a painted lines or something around where the path goes. So that's one thing that we've kind of begun working on now. We got 7 more guitars that are being painted by artists, 4 of them at the school.
Okay.
And, I'm not sure when they're all going to be finished. We'll start placing those. It's going to be pieces along the way, but that's going to be something that we're going to start working on this year.
Okay.
And then I know Blind Willie's coming up.
Yep, Blind Willie is.
Have they announced the?
Nope,
haven't announced yet. Okay,
not yet. But it is, our kickoff concert is Friday, September the 6th, and the festival is Saturday, September the 7th.
Great. I know
30th anniversary.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And part of that Blind Willie is there's plans for a commemorative memorial statue in the park. We've been working on that, and the park also will include an amphitheater. I know we've talked about in the future trying to get some concerts down there.
Yep.
In addition to whatever else we can throw that way.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth, for being here today and sharing what's going on with tourism in McDuffie County. I'll throw in there too, everybody remember that we've cut the ribbon and opened up our new concession stand and scoring tower at Sweetwater, and been out there a couple of times lately, and there's a lot of kids playing soccer, a lot of kids playing baseball and softball, and good food and great service by the team that's out there, and very happy with where that project is. And we're starting to look at some other renovations out there to bring that to be able to host some state and local and even hopefully some regional and national tournaments. So we're excited about what Sweetwater can bring to tourism too.
Yeah, we are.
All right. And of course, thank you to our listeners for logging on and tuning in. As always, we hope you continue to find ways to get involved in something good happening in McDuffie County. By doing so, you can help make your community a reflection of you.
And that's a wrap on this episode of the McDuffie Minute. When you get a chance, take a minute and learn a little bit about McDuffie County.